how to make a watch strap. I don't got time for a fucking intro today, so let's just start the tutorial. So first, let's select this case. Let's go to edit mode. I'm going to select this edge loop over here, and this is what I'm going to use to create the first piece. Now, when I select this edge loop, it also selects this geometry on the inside. I don't want that, so I'll use my brush select tool to deselect all that. I only want these edges on the sides here, so I'm going to separate them to new object with P, and then I'll select those new objects. And in edit mode, I have to go to edge select mode, and in edge select mode, I can press W. That's going to open up this little menu where I'm going to click on bridge edge loops. That's going to connect those two edge loops with faces. If W doesn't do it for you, you can also go up here to edge, and here you can find bridge edge loops. Keep in mind, this is only going to work in edge select mode. It ain't going to work in vertex select mode. Now you can see my shading is a little bit fucked up. That's because my normals are inverted, so I'll go to edit mode and I'll correct that with shift N. And then I want two loop cuts over here, and I'm going to take those two loop cuts and scale them up on the x-axis just to make the inner segment a little bit wider. I also want to make sure that this surface at the bottom is going to be completely flat, so I'll place my 3D cursor on this edge over here, and then I'll select all the faces at the bottom. I'll scale them to 0 on the z-axis while my pivot point is set to 3D cursor. So now I want to add another loop cut on this side and on the other side. That's going to double these edge segments on the inside. And in face select mode, I'll use Alt right click to select these outer segments, and with Alt S, I'm going to shrink them down a little bit. Also make sure to check even offset when you use this operation. So as you can see now, that separates the sides from the middle. And now we're going to use the middle to create another little piece on this object, which is going to connect this part of the chain to the rest of the strap. So to do that, I'm going to place my 3D cursor onto an edge down here at the bottom. I want to take this one right here. And then I'm going to select an edge from up here. So maybe this edge. And then in side view, I'm going to use my spin tool to extrude this and create this next part. So with my 3D cursor down here and with this edge selected, I'll just press Alt E spin. As you can see, that extrudes this edge into a circle, but I don't want a full circle. I only want it to get to around here somewhere, so I have to reduce the angle here accordingly. Something like this will do, and while the pivot point is still set to 3D cursor, I'm also going to scale this to 0 on the z-axis just to make sure that this is perfectly aligned. And now I just want to delete all the faces on the inside here because I don't need them. I want to be able to fill these edges here like this. Let's also do an n-gon over here because I don't really care about topology in this model. Once again, my shading is fucked up, so we gotta correct the normals. Let's do shift N for that. And now we got this little piece sticking out of the side here. So here's what you gotta do next. With the 3D cursor still on the same edge down here where we use the spin tool, I'm now going to add a new cylinder in object mode with shift A, mesh cylinder. We gotta flip that fucker sideways, and we gotta scale him down a little bit. It also has to have pretty much the exact same width. Now, I don't like eyeballing things like this. I like to use my 3D cursor because I like to be surgical. So I'm going to place my 3D cursor onto this little corner over here, and I'll select this face, scale that to 0 on the x-axis with my 3D cursor as the pivot point. We're gonna do the same thing over here on the other side. And then I have to turn this cylinder into a semi-cylinder. I don't know if that's a word, but you guys understand what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna take these edges from down here, which are exactly in the middle, join those edges with J to create an edge here, do the same thing over here on the other side, and now delete all the faces on the underside, and this only leaves you with half a cylinder. This is what we need here. So now we're going to pull that out until we got a nice little gap between this and the previous object, and then we need to create the second part of the chain link, which is going to be on the side here. So now we're going to duplicate this cylinder, place the 3D cursor onto the side over here, select the entire thing, scale this to -1 on the x-axis. Now this side over here has to be aligned with this edge, so we're going to select one of the vertices here, place the 3D cursor there, and then select this edge segment, scale that to 0 on the x-axis to line it here. And now we have to make sure that this is going to be exactly in the middle. Now, how do you make sure that this is exact? Let me show you something. You go to fucking edit mode, you can select these two objects at the same time so you can edit their geometry simultaneously. We're going to place the 3D cursor exactly in between these two vertices, and then in object mode we're going to select this object, and it's very important that the origin point of this object is aligned with the middle of this object. In this case it's in the back there, but as you can see it's still aligned with the middle of the object if you look at it from side view. Now we can't just snap it with shift S selection of cursor because that's going to push it out too far, and I also don't want to use this active element shit because that's going to snap my geometry to the right place, but my origin point is still going to be stuck over here, and I need this origin point to be aligned with the middle of this object, so this is not going to work. Instead, while my 3D cursor is exactly there in the middle, I'm going to go up here to this little options menu that I bet you never heard of before. And here I'm going to check locations, and now when I scale something, it only affects the location of that object without affecting the scale. Normally, if you scale something in object mode without this, the object is going to get smaller. But when you check this now, it's only the object changing its position without getting smaller. So now I can press S to scale, Y to scale on the Y axis and set that shit to 0. And as you can see now, this object is perfectly aligned with the 3D cursor on the Y axis, but we didn't change the scale of the object. And now that my origin point is still here in the middle, I can just snap my 3D cursor to the origin point, select all this geometry, we can rotate that by 180 to bring it to the other side. So now we have one link, we have another link, and then we also have this piece where the chain connects to the case. Now we gotta make the buckle, and after that we're gonna be able to start creating the actual chain from these objects. So I'm gonna catch my breath real quick. In the meantime, let me throw this at you. You know when you turn on your television and they hit you with all these prostate medication advertisements and all this other dumb shit? Well, somebody made those animations in 3D in a program like Blender. So if you want to be able to make those types of animations yourself, if you want to get a job in television advertising, if you want to be able to produce high quality industry standard animations, I got a whole course, check it out. It's about this fucking toothbrush that you can see behind me. Now that's enough, let's get back to the tutorial. Before we can make the buckle, we first have to make a special type of link where the buckle can be attached to the rest of the strap. Now this buckle is supposed to have a cylindrical hinge on the beginning, as you can see in this little mock-up buckle that I made right here. And that's supposed to connect with one of the chain links, but if you look closely over here, the shape of this chain link doesn't really match this cylindrical hinge too well. It looks a little bit shitty. We're supposed to adjust this shape so it fits properly with this cylindrical hinge. So we're going to do that first, and then after that we're going to be able to make the buckle. So first let's duplicate this link and let's bring it over here to the side. And now once again we're going to use our spin tool on one of these edges here, and we're going to use that to create the cylinder. Now this time we can't place the 3D cursor at the bottom, because if we place the 3D cursor at the bottom and we use our Alt-E spin tool, it's going to make a circle which is way too large, and it's going to go underneath this object. And we don't just want half of a cylinder, we want a full circle. So check this out. First we have to pick an edge where we want this cylinder to start. So let's take this one over here. I'm only going to select a vertex from the side of that edge, and then I'm going to shift select the vertex on the bottom, and with shift S I'm going to snap the 3D cursor onto these two vertices, so the 3D cursor is now exactly in between them. And if you imagine the height difference between the floor and this vertex up here, the 3D cursor is exactly halfway up. So now with my 3D cursor as a pivot point, I'm going to select this vertex up here, shift D, I'm going to scale that to 0 on the Z axis, and now this vertex here is going to be the pivot point for my spin tool. So place the 3D cursor onto that vertex, select this edge which we picked previously, now go to side view, and now you can just do Alt-E spin. This time we can create a full circle. Let's just set the number of steps to something like 16. You can use a little bit more than that if you want to, just don't use something like 300. 16 is good enough for me, so I'm going to roll with that. We're going to delete the inner half of this cylinder which we just created, and then we're also going to get rid of all these vertices over here which are part of this semi-cylinder which we created previously. And now it's supposed to have a shape kind of like this. Now we just have to fill these edges down here, and let's also slide these edges at the top until we got a straight line. So something like this should do it. And now we can just fill the sides, and as you can see, this shape looks much more suitable for a cylindrical hinge. We can test that by adding a cylinder which is also going to have 16 vertices, because 16 is the number of steps we used with our spin tool. And now if you place that over here, you're going to see that this cylinder matches the side of this link perfectly. So we can use this cylinder to now create the buckle. To create the buckle, we're just going to add a little cylinder over here on this side. We have to make sure that this cylinder is aligned with the side of this strap, so we can place the 3D cursor over here and align this face with the 3D cursor there. Then we're going to place the 3D cursor at the bottom of the cylinder. Let's select a couple of faces from here, extrude, right click, scale that to 0 on the Z axis, and then just extrude this face out a little bit, then extrude it one more time, and this is going to be the middle part of your buckle where you got that curved shape. I'm not using a reference image right now, so I don't really know how long this buckle is supposed to be. I'm just going to eyeball it. We can change it pretty easily later. Right now I just want to create a little shape like this, then I'm going to duplicate that and mirror it across the 3D cursor back there. Make sure to merge your vertices by distance, make sure to correct your normals when you do this. And now we can just lift this middle segment up, and we can use Ctrl V to bevel that. That's going to create the curved shape, and the reason this has to be curved is so it can fit your wrist properly on this part down here. This is probably way too large if you try to compare it to the case of the watch, so you probably want to make this a little bit shorter. So I'd say something like this should be about right, but we can always go back and redo it later. I want my bevel to reach the end here, and then I'm going to take these edges at the end and I'm going to slide them all the way just to make sure we don't have these extra edge loops. And now I'm going to place my 3D cursor onto the middle of this chain link which we created a second ago. Select these faces over here. I'm going to extrude them, scale them to 0 on the x-axis so they align with this part. Delete these faces on the inside, and now just duplicate everything and copy it across the 3D cursor like this. Now this looks pretty fucking stupid because it's pretty short and wide, but whatever, we can fix that later. So as you can see, this buckle is perfectly connected with this chain link over here, and that chain link can be perfectly perfectly connected with the rest of the strap, as you can see here. If you want to be a little bit more detailed, you can also bevel these edges on the corners of your individual chain links. You can also add another cylinder sideways like this, and then you can use that together with your Boolean modifier. So if I run this cylinder through both of these chain links, now I can just go to my modifier tab, add modifier, generate Boolean, set that to difference, use the eyedropper to target this cylinder, apply the Boolean modifier, and now you got a hole here. And in this hole, you're supposed to have some kind of a screw. If you look at a reference image of a Rolex watch, this is what they have on some of the chain links. I don't know if this applies to every single chain link, so be careful. You don't want to have it all over the place. And now you can duplicate this circle, you can push that inwards, you can fill that with F, join a couple of edges from opposite sides like this, and now you can extrude this out, then extrude the sides a little bit further, and this gives you some kind of a little nut here. Before we continue, we should probably also take some faces from up here and then extrude those and create another piece just to make this buckle a little bit thicker. You might want to use a subdivision surface modifier, you might want to try and make this a little bit cute, maybe you want to add a Rolex logo up here or something. I don't really want to spend too much time on that because it's pretty simple hard surface modeling. I just want to show you how to construct the fucking strap. So now all the pieces are ready to go. Let me show you a special technique for creating chains. Now guys, everybody knows that you can use the array and the curve modifier to create chains using an object. If you aren't aware of this, this is one of the most basic features. You gotta know this shit if you want to be able to follow tutorials like this one. And if you want to catch up with that type of shit, then check out my Blender Masterclass course. That's for beginners and it explains everything you gotta know if you want to be able to use Blender properly. But assuming you're already familiar with the array and curve modifier combination, let me quickly explain to you a problem that appears when you use this combination. So when you go Shift A curve and you add a path curve and you shape that to whatever you want the shape of your chain to be, and then you place your origin point onto the beginning of this curve, then you add your cube, then you go to apply your array modifier and you stack this shit a couple of times on the x-axis, for example, and then after the array modifier you add your curve modifier from the deform section and you target this curve. What happens is now your cubes follow this curve, but if they reach a tight corner you can see that the cubes get deformed. Now this is fine when you're doing something organic, when you're modeling a worm or something, but when you're modeling a hard surface chain, that's not gonna work. We can't have our fucking Rolex strap bending as if it's made out of rubber. It's not made out of rubber, it's probably made out of gold or something. I don't wear gold because if I wear gold, I'm gonna look like a fucking gypsy, so I wear silver, but whatever. So here's what you can do to avoid having your objects deformed by the curve modifier. So instead of these cubes, you're going to go Shift A, add a plane, and by the way, I learned this tip from a YouTuber, I can't remember his name, but I'll put a screenshot of the channel here, shout out to him. And with Shift A, let's add another object. For example, let's add the fucking monkey and place him on top of this plane. We're going to apply the array modifier onto the plane, and then we're going to apply the deform curve modifier to this plane, and we're going to target the curve, and then we're going to substitute the plane with the object which we want visible on the curve. So the plane is then going to be deformed, but not the object which is substituting the plane. And I don't know how this shit works, but it works, so who gives a fuck. So you're gonna select this plane, you're gonna go over here to the object properties menu, you're gonna go down to instancing. By default, this is set to none, you gotta set it to faces. And now that you set this to instancing, now you can take this monkey, you gotta make sure that it's at the exact location as the plane originally was without the modifiers. So the monkey in this case has to be exactly at the beginning of the curve. Then select the monkey, select the plane, press Ctrl P and parent the monkey to the plane. And as you can see now, the monkey is also following the curve, except it's not getting deformed like the plane is. So this is the basic mechanism that we're going to use here. It gets a little bit more complicated because you have to conceal the plane. We're also going to be combining a couple of different objects, so we're going to have to use separate objects and separate modifiers on all of them. So buckle the fuck up because this might be a little bit complicated. You're going to have to concentrate, but believe me, you're going to learn something new today. So first, we got to get rid of all these objects which we created here earlier. Let's just move them to the side so they're not in the way. And we're going to create our curve first. So let's place the 3D cursor onto the middle here. Shift A, I want a path curve from the curve section. We're going to rotate that. We're going to place it down here somewhere. There's not really much to say for how you should shape this curve. You basically just got to make it look like a fucking watch strap. Everybody knows what a watch strap looks like, so something like this. And now we're going to make sure that the origin point is on this first vertex over here. So place the 3D cursor onto this vertex. You go up here to object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. And we should probably have this first piece connecting to the case without the curve or the array modifier. So we're just going to place that here and leave it be. But now we're going to take this next piece over here, which consists of two half cylinders. And it's very important that the origin point of this object is exactly in the middle down here. So you can place your 3D cursor here and once again set the origin point to the 3D cursor cursor there. Then you're going to snap that to the origin of your curve over here. And this is where you're now going to add your first plane. Now you're going to have to make this plane very small because I don't really know how you can make this plane disappear otherwise without making the chain links disappear as well. If somebody knows, let me know in the comments. My solution is to just make it very tiny so it's inside the object and you're not going to be able to see it. But now add modifier, deform, curve modifier, target this curve right here. If it snaps to the other side over here, that's because you have to invert the direction of this curve. The starting point of this curve is on that side at the moment. So you can just edit this curve and go up here to segments and click on switch direction. Then your plane is going to appear over here at this side. And then you want to go ahead and add your array modifier, but the array modifier has to be above the curve modifier. So we probably should have added the array modifier first, but it doesn't matter. Now in the array modifier, we're going to uncheck relative offset. We're going to close that menu. We're going to use constant offset instead. Check that and then adjust the numbers here to whatever is suitable for you. For me, it's going to be something like 0.1 on the y-axis. Probably it's going to be 0.2. I'm not sure what exactly it's going to be, but we're going to see when we get there. And now once again, with this plane selected, you got to go to object properties, change this instancing from none to faces. And then you just got to select this chain link, and then you got to select the plane, parent the chain link to the plane. You might get some crazy shit like this, but that's because you have to apply the rotation of this chain link. So select that, press Ctrl A, apply rotation. Now it behaves a little bit better, but we got a double over here, so you probably want to hide this instant here with H. And then you got to adjust the shape of the curve a little bit so it fits the watch a little bit better. We're also going to have to slightly increase the distance between these planes, so let's do that in our array modifier. Then we have to add another little plane, which is also going to be very tiny, and we're going to do the same thing with that plane that we did with the first plane. Don't duplicate the first plane because it's going to have the same settings as this one, and then you're going to copy the objects onto it as well. We don't want that. Just start with a new plane. Scale that little fucker down, then go and add your array modifier and add your curve modifier with the same settings like we had previously. So now we can control this chain separately. We need to place that exactly in between these two instances that we created earlier. Now we know that the gap between the first links is exactly 0.22 meters, so we have to move this by 0.11 meters on the y-axis. And then just place your 3D cursor onto the origin point of this plane and snap this next link there. Then you're going to parent this link to the planes like we did before. Once again, apply the rotation, hide this original instance, and as you can see, that allows you to create this chain pretty damn well. Now, of course, we're gonna have to do this a few more times, so we have to add another plane which is going to be used for the buckle. This time we don't need to use an array modifier because we only have one buckle. We just have to target the curve with the curve modifier on this plane. Again, set the instancing to faces, then parent this buckle here to that new little plane. You might have to adjust the rotation of this buckle. You might also have to change the shape a little bit, but this works pretty well for me for now. By the way, I forgot to bring in my special chain link here, but I'm gonna bring that here the same way I brought in all these other chain links, except once again, I'm not gonna use the array modifier because this object appears just once. And also another very important thing here, you can't just extend this chain onto the other side by increasing the count, because then you're gonna have instances here which are going to bother you. Instead, you're gonna have to use Alt-H to unhide your objects. You're gonna duplicate these instances over here, bring them to the other side, and press Alt-P to clear their parent properties. And then just use these duplicated versions to do the same shit that we did here, but on the other side. And once you do that, you're gonna be able to fully construct your watch. And by the way, you can use the same method for creating tank tracks. You can make a bicycle chain, you can make a motorcycle chain, you can use it to create whatever you want. This method is definitely superior to just the classic fucking array and curve modifier combo. Now guys, if you haven't seen the animation which I made with this fucking Rolex watch, I posted it on Instagram, so you can go check that out. There's a link for that in the description. It's a pretty sweet fucking animation. I think you guys are gonna like it. But that's enough for this video. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the fucking channel, and I'll see you in the next one.